Hi folks and modelers, welcome back to another part on the build of the USS Enterprise CVN-65 from Mini Hobby Models at 1/350 scale. So it's been about 2 weeks since my last update, and so since my last update I was having trouble with the decal and some parts which I attached wrongly. So I want to thank those who have given advice how to go about all these hiccups. So first I would like to show you that I got all the decals on here, and there was a lot of comments on how to go about the printed decals on the water slide decal papers. So the advice was to put a coat of clear coat. So what I did was I used the Mr. Color's clear gloss coat and sprayed onto the decal. And once I've done that, it did work pretty good. The bleeding stopped from the decals. So once I've got that done, I started sticking all these decals everywhere. And some of these reference, I use the Larsenal's website's instructions, but that instruction is not complete. It only showed like certain sections of the interior hanger bay walls. So of course, again, I referred back to what Mike provided to me, because his drawings was quite complete. And also, so this one is the mural on the center door. So I think this one came up pretty good. And at the back there's all these caution stripes. But some of these locations of the decal, some were pretty much my guessings, and just where to place it, because not everything showed where all the decals are supposed to go. So on this front aft here, there are some decals down there, I think you can see. And for I think at the back, there are supposed to be no decals, I believe, but I just because I had 2 copies of this decal anyway, so I have I had extras, so I just placed it to make it look better. And also another thing about all this decal from Larsenal, I realized that this decal cannot be purchased just for the decals. If you have to buy the entire aftermarket set, which is for the entire hanger bay, including some vehicles, a lot of some photo etch stuffs, and that aftermarket set costs like $200 over US. So this, if you want exactly these decals, I think you will have to print them out yourself, because they are not sold separately. And the other decals which I saw on the David Scales Modeling's site, those are just pretty basic decals, and it's not as complete as the Larsenal's decals. And yeah, so you know, you will have to print those out. But again, I did have some problems with these decals. The paper was not, I think the decal paper was not a good quality. So it is very different from those kits decal papers. So these are a bit stretchable and not too sticky. So, but anyway, I had 2 copies of that. So I damaged a lot of decals on the way, but there were enough. So anyway, I have completed this all the walls. And also, okay, so I think in my last update I mentioned that I put these racks upside down. So I have also seen a lot of comments, advice how to go about this. I think there was a lot of suggestions, but I tried the acetone and I used this one. It's actually a nail polish remover. So I did test it before I tested on all these parts, and it did not remove paints or melt the plastic. So I applied them. It did soften a little bit on the super glue, but it did not completely you know, make the super glue come off. So I still had to cut those the leaks out, and that's why there was some damages along the way. And I think you can see that some of these pieces are a bit broken, a bit twisted. I think like especially like this piece here, but at least I got it out, and I stick it back the other way around and repainted it. And I have fitted all these fuel tanks randomly. I made about 70 pieces of these and randomly placed them. Some doesn't sit horizontally. I think it's because of the racks. The beams over there are not straight. But anyway, this is how it will look like. So I'm not sure. I still have some extra these fuel tanks. I think I made about 70 pieces of that. So, and I did not put entirely into the racks. Some are like empty slots. So this is done. And also the way I think I have the extra fuel tanks here. So the way I made this, I used the hardware drill, and since I had the grinder, I grind off the tip a little bit, and of course after grinding it off, it's still very rough, so I have to file it down to shape it down a little bit. So each of these fuel tanks might look a bit different, but I think from the door wells, it will probably not be so noticeable. It will just be seen as you know, there are some fuel tanks hanging on the racks. So I got all these done, and let me just put these away, because I have also started working on the hull actually. And the reason for that is I thought I could just glue all these hangar bay the walls and everything into the hull, but I realized that the hull needs a lot of work, and so I decided I will work on the hull a bit, and I think some sponsons have to be attached first because there are quite huge gaps after I've attached them. So these kind of side deck sponsons, I cannot paint these first before it is being attached, because there'll be a lot of photo etch things around, and I'm sure I will damage it while cleaning up these kind of parts. So I need to study a bit on how which sponson can go on and which can be added later. See, for example, like this piece here, I'm sure this one will have to be painted on the deck here, because there's no way you're gonna be painting from these small areas. So for this sponson, I think it has to be painted photo etch, then attached to here. And same goes for this sponson, this side decks here. So all these small areas decks have to be probably painted and photo etched first. And also, I have received the Edwards photo etch part 3, 4 and 5, and they have a lot of these kind of photo etch on the entire hull. So I think I will need to attach these all these photo etch. So a lot of these holes have to be filled up or cut up. So I've been, busy doing these kind of things, and I think it's definitely better to work on all these things before the interior is attached. Otherwise, a lot of dust is gonna go in, and also I might touch and damage the interior. So okay, and I have also completed the decks, the interior decks with the decals, and I have weathered these floor decks because I was intending to put the interior in. Then I discovered about all the side, the hull things, and I stopped working on the interior. So these are, I think, ready to go. I have all the decals, and these line caution step line decals, it's kind of wet. Not sure what is that. It was really difficult to get it straight, probably due to the nature of the paper, the decal paper. So I think some lines looks a bit wriggly, and and also it started bleeding out because I was moving it around so much. So I have done quite a heavy weathering. It is, the purpose is actually just to cover up all these decals where it got chipped off or bleeds out. It's kind of a cheating way, because if you make these lines, if you weather it, some of those chipped off areas will not be seen. And then I got all these decals on these side of the door wells. These are all decals, and added some little bit of this kind of detail things, which I know there are a lot of things on the walls over here, but I don't think I can detail up too much. And by the way, this kit, there is something wrong with this kit. because the upper side of the door well here, it's a bit difficult to position this. It's supposed to be, more like a cavity inside here, but this is actually just flat. And there are some ribs on this upper side here. So yeah, so this is what those things I've been doing, and I've actually, I have painted this deck with German gray, and also I have painted some of these areas here with the number 35 Mr. Color, which is supposed to be the hull color. So I had to paint all these because these areas later on will be very difficult to paint. So later I will just cover up with a sponge while working, painting the entire hull. And also you can see that I have attached the bottom piece here. So this bottom piece was quite difficult to attach. I super glued it all the way, and then it started smearing the glue. So I have puttied it once. So after this I will have to primer this, and I hope I don't have to rework these kind of lines, these seam lines too many times. But I'm sure some areas will definitely show the lines, even though I cannot feel anything now. But let's see how after if I primer it, how it turns out. And if it's okay, then I'll start painting the red brown, the black line, and this the hull gray. So yeah, so far this is what I've been doing. And talking about that photo etch from Edward, I have already taken out all those photo etch from the packages, and I have given them a metal primer using this metal primer here. And this metal primer takes a long time to dry, so I usually will airbrush the entire piece of photo etch and leave it for about a week to let it dry. And it's kind of like sticky, so if it's not dry when you touch it, it gets kind of sticky and dust will stick to it. So I have sprayed all the photo etch, because after this a lot of photo etch work will come in, will start. And especially at the bow area here, I will have to build some of these things here, because these things will be sitting inside. And I will definitely have to build all this, because and paint it, because this will be covered. So yeah, certain areas have to be painted, just complete. And I think some areas maybe I can leave it out first. So it's getting very kind of confusing now on which areas can be done first or can be done later. So now a lot of thinking will start to happen when I start working on this. And another reason why I didn't want to build the hanger bay first is because I will have to stick the LED here, and once I stick that, this will be glued in. So which means the LED will be actually like together with the hull, and I don't want to be working on the entire hull with all the LEDs hanging out, and with the hanger bay completed inside there. So I will spend some time working on the hull before I build you know, I stick in all the hanger bay walls. So I think I've covered most of the things that I've been doing for the past 2 weeks. So I apologize for my late update because I think things will start to slow down after this. It's not gonna be so smooth sailing because I'll be working with photo edge. Then I'll have to do a lot of sanding on all these side deck sponsons sticking onto the hull. So now, yeah, finally I'm getting into the kit rather than the scratch building. And also talking about scratch building, I have not built the hangar bay cargo items and also the air wings. So that will probably also come much later once I've worked with the hull. So I think that's it for now. That's my update. I hope you like this video. I know it's a little bit messy now. I've been jumping here and there, but yeah, hopefully soon. I think maybe now my update might be in 2 weeks time instead of 1, because I can't cover that much in a week. You know, working on all these things now. And especially photo H will take, you know, definitely a lot of time to do that. But anyway, it is progressing, and I'm not taking a vacation or not doing anything. So until then, hope you like this. Please help to subscribe or give me a thumbs up, and I'll be back for more. So happy modeling and cheers for now. Goodbye.